Hello everyone and welcome to Wilson Waffling Live. This will be episode 48. Recorded on Sunday the 21st of June 2015. Blogs, books and bicycles. Run titles. Hello and welcome to Wilson Waffling Live, and I am trying, my computer is whirling so loud in the background, it is absolutely unbelievable. I do not know how long I'll be able to keep online tonight. Why? Well, I'm actually broadcasting live tonight over a few different channels, and the CPU is currently working at, it says it's fluctuating between yellow and orange. It hasn't got to red yet, and it's fluctuating between about 68% usage and about 72 being orange. And the reason this is happening is that I'm actually trying to stream to 3 places all at the same time, and I'm sort of like thinking this might be actually stupid in the end and I might not actually do it anymore, but I'm really interested how it works. So where am I streaming to? Well, as always, I am streaming to the following places. So, 93. It didn't like that at all. It didn't like that at all. Let me show you where I'm streaming to. Well, first things first, I am, of course, streaming to Wilson Waffling Live on the web page. So this is Wilson Waffling Live, and you can get to it just by pressing Wilson Waffling Live up here. Oh, do you know, it's a bit worrying now. It's suddenly gone down to 50%, which means that I bet something has dropped. Anyway, you can go to Wilson Waffling Live here, and down on here, this is where the show will be, and you can just press record there. Also on this page, you can go here and you can join the chat, and this is where the chat is, and you can log in with that either with your Ustream account, or you can of course log in with your Facebook. So by all means, nip along there and join in the chat. I'm also streaming it to Twitch, so if any of you are gamers and you've got a Twitch account, then if you go over to my Wilson Waffling Twitch account, twitch.tv, you'll be able to follow there. And also, I think I might actually be going live on YouTube as well, but I'm not too sure how I can check this at all. So I don't know whether or not I am live on YouTube or I'm not live on YouTube. So if you know I'm there, or you figured out that I'm there, then by all means tweet me or get in touch with me somehow, and we can and you can verify it. Now, it just reminded me there when I just turned around like that, I got somebody spoke to me, and they said, Ian, why do you keep looking over to the side through your live shows like that? And the reason is because of the setup here. And would you believe this magic of Wilson Waffling Live does not just come to you? I know it seems as if there's thousands of people working on this, and we're all working together and we're broadcasting live, and it's a massive amount of people doing this. But unfortunately, that is not true. Really and truly, there is literally me here, and that is it. There is only me here, and I have to sort of like do the whole show by myself. And we actually have a series of screens. So I have a screen over there, and that has something known as Wirecast on it, which allows me to do transitions such as this. Just watch down here and transition. There you go. So that's over there. Then down here, this is where we have the iPad screen, where I do Guess the Drawing later on. And then over there is where I have the chat. on another computer. So I actually have 3 computers working, plus my iPad, plus my phone, all going at the same time. Now, obviously, this takes a bit of processing power, hence we're at 72. But that is why I often keep looking to one side or looking the other way to sort of like make sure that everything is running okay. So remember, there are some other ways that you can get in touch with me and have a chat with me. You can, of course, this is my Twitter handle, so by all means go along and you can just at iWilsonYJ, and that will sort of like that will appear on my Twitter feed that I look at all the time. And we've got our first tweet there it goes, and Rose is busy watching me at Wilson Waffling Live, so thanks, Rose, nice to have you along. And we also have some other people in the chat as well that are joining in, so I'll nip across there in a present moment of time. So by all means, follow me on Twitter or go along to the chat room and log into the chat. So the other thing is if you find me on Facebook, you can also message me on Facebook. And some people last week actually joined in the Guess the Drawing quiz on Facebook. They actually posted the answers to me on Facebook as we spoke, or as the show progressed. So if you would like to message me on there, then you're quite welcome to send me a message either on my Wilson Waffling page, or if you're friends with me direct, then by all means add me as a friend and post a message there for me. So what do I want to talk about today? Well, have you enjoyed today? Because today is a very special day. It's a very special day because today is actually the longest day. It's actually the longest day. Here it is, look. The longest day. It's the summer solstice today. So I think the sun rose this morning at about 4 a.m, 4:20 and it will be we'll have the most amount of sunlight today, and it will last right the way through, and I think it's going to set near off 10 o'clock tonight. So it's the longest day. So have you done something special on your longest day? Have you packed it full of all the golden sunlight around on it and packed it full of interesting things? Or have you just been sat relaxing, enjoying the sun? We've had quite a bit of sunshine here today in York. We've had a few showers as well, but most of the time it's been nice and sunny, and all that sort of like lovely sunshine. It's sort of like, what have you been doing? And it got me questioning, or it got me thinking about this week's this is mine, what's yours? So let's just have the music and then we'll have a look. So this is mine, what's yours part. I'm just getting my Wilson Waffling back. Do you know, this is what I miss. If I had a producer, all this would just happen. But unfortunately, I'm doing everything. Or if I had another presenter, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Another presenter. So I was thinking about, this is mine, what's yours? And because it's the longest day today, I thought, I'm not a great lover of the sun. I don't like summer that much at all. I don't like it, and if you're a regular viewer of the show, you will be aware of this. And the reason... so I was just reading a comment from the chat, and somebody just said that my electricity bill must be huge, and yeah, I think it actually is, to be honest with you. No, I've gone off track. No, I don't actually like summer, and the reason I don't like summer is because it's hot. I don't like anything above about 18 degrees. I can suffer 20, but 20 is too hot. As long as I'm dressed appropriately, i.e. shorts and t-shirts. You know, there's nothing worse than going to a wedding or being out and about in a suit when it's hot. I get hay fever, you know, and sometimes that bypasses every single tablet that you take. So not keen on hay fever. I also think summer is the time that... some days it's really difficult to get cool, and sometimes it's you know, you're just boiling and it's hot and it's muggy, and you drink plenty of water and you just sort of like flop around. It's also the time for barbecues and loud outdoors parties, which I'm not a great believer or fan of. I'm all right if I'm there. It's when somebody else is having it and I'm trying to sort of like concentrate on something. And the only good thing, there is one good thing about summer, and it happened, I think it starts next week actually, is Wimbledon. I like watching a bit of tennis. Tennis is quite good. So it got me thinking, this is mine, what's yours? And my favourite season, so there's only 4, remember, is not summer, it's not spring. Sometimes it would be winter. I do like aspects of winter. I do like snow, but I don't like it when we're snowed in. I'm not a keen fan of that, especially if I have to drive. If I don't have to drive, then I'm absolutely fine with winter and snow. But my favourite season has to be autumn. My favourite season is autumn, and I love it when it's really windy and it's rainy and there's all those golden leaves and all those lovely colours in the trees, and there's cold mornings and it's frosty and it's foggy and it's not completely winter. It's sort of like snow or anything like that. It's more like just semi-winter, I think I want to call it. It's sort of like a semi-winter, and I love autumn. So that is mine. My favourite season is autumn. So what is yours? So remember, you can message me, you can tweet me, you can pop it in chat. It's completely up to you. And the idea is, this is mine, what is yours? My favourite season is autumn. What is your favourite season? Okay, so and I'm just going to check. Oh yes, it's very true. It's very true. In the chat, somebody's just mentioned about all the awful insects, and I hate insects in autumn. They just get stung and everything. You know, no wonder. I mean, if you're following me and joining in the chat at the moment, that's fantastic. I just noticed that famous YouTubers, all the famous YouTubers are online at the moment, like myself, and also Jim Chapman, which is interesting as well. He's a very popular YouTuber. So onward to my tweets of the week. And again, I don't have a tweet of the week music, so we're just going to say tweet of the week. And I've got some lovely tweets of the week. So here we go. Here's some of my tweets of the week. So here's my first one. My first tweet of the week. Look at this. Look at that. How cute is that? Can you see that, guys? Let me just make it a bit bigger. There you go. It was tweeted by @BeforeWorks, and it was retweeted, and it's titled "Almost There, Buddy." Look at that. Look at it. It's almost got its neck just over. Almost there. What a lovely little picture that is. Almost there. And that's almost like, you know, when you're busy doing something, like you're planning or marking or reports or anything like that. I'm going to put that on my door somewhere, that is just sort of like almost there, almost there. So that was one of my favourite tweets of the week. And I do have some more. Because my other... Now, the next one, the reason I've come back to me is so you don't... So, because I've got a warning. This is a warning, okay? So, if you do not like spiders, then please look away. Keep listening to me. But if you do not like spiders, then look away now, okay? Keep listening to me, and I'll tell you when you can look back. Because I follow something on Twitter called The Invertebrates, and they post this fantastic picture of a spider. A fantastic picture of a spider. Just have a look at that. Look at that for a spider. How fantastic is that? It's at invertebrates_UK, that is. But look at that spider. It's absolutely amazing, and it's worth going to see it. I think these look like really thick legs up at the front here, but they're actually two legs almost like put together. It's almost like it's sort of like got double legs there. So that's another one of my favorite tweets of the day. Whoops. Okay then, so you can look back. If you were looking away because of the spider, you can now look back. You can look back and join in. So that was another tweet of the day, and then I found something else. Now anybody who knows me will be aware that I'm a great lover of Minecraft, and I like playing Minecraft. And I was really pleased to find in my Twitter feed to find this. This is retweeted by Jisk at Jisk, and this is Lancaster University, and they're actually building the university in Minecraft. How fantastic is that? They're actually going to have a virtual Minecraft world all done in Minecraft, so you can actually log on and go round the actual campus. I think that's absolutely amazing. You know, and if anybody would like to start on our university, then give us a tweet and we'll start it straight away. I think that would be a fantastic idea, to actually have a virtual Minecraft, which would be fantastic. Okay, so I've got one more tweet of the week, and this is absolutely unbelievable, and you nearly didn't see this. Because this only just, so I've gone a bit dark, I know, this only just appeared just before the show, and I was going to leave it to next week, but I thought, no, I'm going to put it on this week. So this is my final tweet of the week. Here it goes. Here you go. Wait till it gets to the beginning. Okay, watch this. How ingenious is that? Now this was tweeted by @the_geek_club. Okay, so @the_geek_club. And anyone fancy trying this? #geeks rule. And look at that. It's ingenious. How long it took for them to actually get that to work, I have got no idea. But it is worth going and having a look. Go along and have a look at those, because they're absolutely fantastic. So those were my tweets of the week. So what's next? Let me have a look. Let's just zip over to the chat. So if you're in the chat, this is the time to make a noise if you want to suddenly appear. So we can see here that we've got 2 people in the chat. We've ignored the ones at the top. I don't know how to get rid of that. But hi Rose, and we've also got the literature tree in there as well. Brilliant. Hi guys, thank you for coming along and joining in the show today. Hope you are enjoying it, and hope you are going to participate in the upcoming quizzes, etc. So talking about quizzes, let's go and do. Or shall we do the? No, I know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about. We're not going to do guess the drawing yet, because that's been very popular this week. We're going to do it. We're going to do the educational bit. So, no, before we do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just want to talk about 2 other things that have come up this week that I'd just like to sort of like bring your attention to. The first thing is that I have been. Oops, I can't get this up right. There we go. We'll do it this way first. I have been participating in a trial run of somewhere called lynda.com. And I'm telling you this because you might be aware of my old animation for the Wilson Waffling sort of like titles. You know, when I say run titles. And if you remember, they were produced beforehand, and then I've used them for a while, and then a wonderful musician called Josh Burnell, he has recreated or created from new my theme tune. and that's been redone now, and now I'm going to try to redo the titles. And what I've been using, what I've been learning as part of lynda.com, and can I just say that I'm not promoting them, they're not sponsoring me or anything like that. I came across this, which is After Effects. And After Effects, you can actually create titles and make things move round and make things move. And I'm actually decided, I've got a holiday coming up pretty soon and some leave, well, in about 3 weeks. And I thought one of the projects I'm going to set myself over that holiday is to actually recreate the Wilson Waffling titles. Now, before you get excited and think, oh, it's going to have this in, it's going to have this in, how I view this is this. I'm going to start playing with the program, and if I find out that it does anything exciting, I'm going to do it. If I can't figure out what happens with it, then I'm not going to do it. So I might have this vision of W's flying in everywhere and Wilson Waffling twirling around and things like that. And if I start off with something like that and then try to do it and it doesn't work, then I'll just give up. So I'm just going to try with something very simple, see whether or not I can get it to work, and then try to do that. And so hopefully in about 4 weeks, in a 4 weeks time, we might have some new titles. The other thing is we're going to talk about, the next thing we're going to talk about is the educational bit. So this is the educational bit when I talk about what I've been blogging about this week. So if this is the time that if you'd like to go and grab yourself a cup of tea or go off and do something, it'll be about 10 minutes this thing. So if you sort of like think, oh yes, time to go, then go off and do something or listen in, and we'll do the exciting educational bit. Sorry, I got sidetracked, and I couldn't find. I've got so many little tabs now. That the whole of Wirecast is all on different sort of like areas, and it takes me ages to figure out where everything is. So over to wilsonwaffling.co.uk. You might actually be on here watching me at the moment. So here it is, wilsonwaffling.uk. Notice we're back up to 517 up here. We did get down to 298 last week. And this is last week's Wilson Waffling Live, called Gaming and Badges, if you'd like to go over there. And of course that's where last week's guest drawing was. And this is this week's blog, and this week's blog is titled The Circle of Education. The Circle of Education. And you know, it's time goes so quickly. And one of the thing is, and I know somebody in the chat room will actually relate to this, is that this Friday was the first year's last day of their first year at university. So they finished placement, and apart from getting assignments back and things like that, they virtually finished their first year. And I think it's really interesting that has gone so quickly. It's gone so quickly, and all of a sudden it's done, it's dusted, it's gone away, and they're finished. And the interesting thing is that pretty soon the next year will start again, and education almost like goes in circles. It tends to go in circles, and this is why I try to do a little, in the circle of education, we got a little Simba here, just above my head, look. Little Simba there, to sort of like, almost like to replicate this idea of the circle of life. The circle of life, and it's almost like the circle of education. And the interesting thing about it is that as you might know, I'm sort of like quite a routine person, and I like routines, and I like sort of like having set routines and following set things. And so almost like education. And I've been in education ever since I started school, so to speak, because I was in school, then I went to university, then I started to teach, and then I've gone back into education. And I've never been out of that sort of like cycle, and my whole year goes in that cycle. And I suppose every year's a cycle, but I think with education, there tends to be more of a cycle. And I was talking to our professor, and our professor, called Professor Matthew Clark, recommended this book to me. He recommended this book to me, and he said, "Oh, Ian, you really should have a read of this book." Here it is, look. It's called How to Write a Lot. How to Write a Lot. And I started to read. No, that is not a better picture of me before anybody stays it. I'm still here. And I started to read it, and the interesting thing is that on that, within the first few chapters of that book, it goes on about, the first chapter I think it goes on about that a lot of the time we set ourselves up to do things over summer, and then we come back and we either haven't got them done and we feel guilty, mainly because we've had a life and we've gone on holiday. But he almost like he talks about this idea that we have this circle, this cycle of education, and you know, we finish one year, then we go off and we have a break. And because the summer's almost a time for not only to relax and enjoy the holidays, but we also almost like identify it as a catch-up period where we're going to catch up. And this is probably the wrong way to sort of like look at it. But it's interesting that when I was reading the book, they actually mentioned this as well. And I think education goes in circles or cycles, and there's several important things about this. Now, the first thing that I talked about, the first almost like advantage, is this idea that it's a yearly progression. And the idea is that we can actually see and recommend and notice and have effect of progression. And my third year's left in sort of like near the end of May from university, and the changes that have occurred to all the students after 3 years of being at university is immense. And they soon sort of like go off and they go into new jobs, and even looking at their pictures on my office wall, they've changed as people as well. And there's a huge amount of change going on, and it's really interesting how they've changed as people, but they've also progressed with their learning, and they've become closer and closer and closer to their ultimate aim of being a teacher. And that's really important. And that progression is so important because year after year we have that opportunity to formulate and to promote that progression. Now, of course, we have to be careful, because one of the other areas of, or one of the other aspects of a cycle of education, is this idea that we can repeat sessions. And a lot of the times we sort of like can think, oh, I did this last year, I'll just do it again and again. And before you know it, it's sort of like the second or the third year of doing it, and it's gone on and on and on and on. And it's been really interesting the last couple of years, because we've altered our modules, and so we've been teaching new modules at university, and it's been really exciting creating new modules. And I think the danger is two things. Number one, the danger is that we're all very busy. And because we're very busy, other things sort of like come into the peripheral of our jobs, and we sort of like think, right, what should we do with this? What should we do with this? And it's a sort of like thing that it's quite easy to slip into that habit then of thinking, oh, I'll just do the same thing as last year. And I think this is almost like, sometimes it's absolutely fine, and sometimes we could do the same thing as last year and it went well, and it challenged the learners and it made them progress, and that, or encouraged them to progress, and that's absolutely fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we should sort of like take a step back and reflect and think, what are we going to change? Are we just going to repeat the sessions, or are we going to change it? And I remember going to a talk at university by Mr. Drew from Educating Yorkshire, and he reminded me, and he reminded everyone, but it really sort of like reminded me that, you know, although we can do things again, and we can repeat our lesson the year after, or the year after that, or whatever. For the learners, they only have one chance at that lesson, and so we almost like have a responsibility to make it our best. And one of the things I talk about in the blog is thinking, right, so we need to make changes. When is the best time to make these changes? When should we change? When should we change it for something else? When should we make that change? And for me, my view about it is I have to do it at summer. But what I do is sort of like say to myself, right, this year is now over, and before I go on holiday, I book out a week of work that I'm going to be working. And when I was at school, when I was teaching in school, I used to finish the summer holidays for the summer holidays on Friday, and I used to work the next week as well. And in that week, I used to finish off that year and start to think about the next. And one of the advantages of doing this is that everything is sort of like still in your head about that year. And if your brain's like mine, and it's probably not like mine, but because I'm old and grey now, but a lot of the time it's sort of like I go off for summer, and then when I come back, I'm sort of like thinking, oh, I'm sure I had a good idea for that, and really and truly by then it's gone. So I always sort of like try to book in that time before I go. Now, the other thing that I would say is that I'm a great believer in the application Evernote. And what I do with Evernote throughout the year is that whenever I think about something that I really want to put in my next year's module or anything like that, then I actually put it into Evernote and I tag it with the module code. And what I do this week is that I get out a big sheet of paper and I cut up the module handbook or my lesson plans or whatever, and I stick them down and I feed in these new articles and change things and sort of like think, right, will this be a good idea, will this not be a good idea? And I almost like recreate the module there, or the series of lessons. And that's really important. I take in students' comments as well. If I remember that the students said at the end of the session, oh, this is a really good lesson, or in the feedback they said I really enjoyed that, then I'll feed that in as well, and then I'll almost like recreate the module. Now, it's one of the other reasons I do that is because, as you can imagine, I use technology a lot in my teaching, and I want to model effective practice. And one of the things that can happen if you don't do this is that, especially with technology, is that technology is moving so rapidly that all of a sudden what you're using is old hat, and it's not very good at all. So it's important to sort of like keep up the sort of like the day-to-day running. And one thing I will say is that I put a little bit of an ending in my conclusion here. I said, maybe one day my life and maybe my teaching will shoot off on a tangent and I'll head off into unknown territory. But until that time, I will continue to make my way to the end of the year, which will ultimately become the beginning. And that's the end of the educational bit. Hope you enjoyed it. It needs to be longer, that, doesn't it? It needs to be longer. So, the other thing is, do you know, I don't know what to do with this. I could do with your help, because I don't know. Have you heard of the association called BERA? It's nothing to do with baking. That's is that Bureau? It's nothing to do with baking. It's BERA, and it's the British Educational Research Association. And I've been to a BERA conference, and I presented once about the use of iPads that I presented with my colleague down there, or two colleagues down there, and they've got a blog. Look, BERA has a blog, and they just started off the BERA blog Research Matters, and I thought, I can write a blog post. And I'm thinking, do you think I'm good enough to write on this blog post? I was just looking at the title, National Teaching Fellow. Professor of Medical Education, co-convener BERA Independent Research Forum, Professor of Education, Reader in Educational Psychology, Associate Professor in Childhood Development. And I'm thinking, can you imagine all that? And then down at the bottom it says, Ian Wilson Waffling. do you think I can actually get a blog post on that? Or, you know, I was speaking to a colleague and they said to me, well, we talked about it, and I said, but it's all really high power people. And somebody said to me, well, you could always change that. I thought, yes, we could, but I don't know whether or not it said in the original email that you could do about research or opinion, and I thought I might talk about opinion and my opinion on whether what's more important at university, the skill to teach or the skill to research, which I thought I might write a blog post about that. So, but we'll see. So what do you think? Do you think I could write on the BERA blog? What I might do, I might write it, I might send it, and if it doesn't get accepted, I'll publish it on my own blog, and then that'll be fine. I'll be happy about that. So let's move on, because let me just see where we're up to. We're going to move on to the exciting Guess the Drawing. Now, we all love Guess the Drawing, and this last week's Guess the Drawing, hang on, I just need to wake everything up because everything goes to sleep. So if you're not aware of Guess the Drawing, oops, come on, wake up, got my iPad here. Do you want to know something? Well, I'm going to tell you in any case, so even if you don't want to know, hard luck. Oh yes, we're in action. We're in action. We're ready. I lost my iPad during the week. On Friday, I lost it, and it was just sort of like, I've lost my iPad. I'm just sort of like formulating the shot so you could see the shot better. I actually lost my iPad, and would you believe it was so unbelievable? And I thought, where is it? And I took out my iPhone and actually clicked on Find My iPad. And I was walking around getting closer and closer to it. And then, I don't know if you know this, but you can make it play a noise. And I'd actually left it in the lecture theatre. And luckily, I mean, there's no students around now, but luckily it was still there. And that's why it's quite this dark colour. So I can leave it and it just sort of like stick out. It's sort of like camouflaged into the thing. So, but it's quite a shock. Anyway, let's talk about Guess the Drawing. And if you remember, the Guess the Drawing last week was a film. It was a film, and this is what it looked like. This was Guess the Drawing from last week. Okay, and if you remember, I drew that and you had to guess the film, and we had quite a lot of responses. So the literature tree said. The literature tree got it. They're in the chat at the moment. They come along to the chat, which is fantastic. They got it correct. And also, Fame or What? I'll hang on. I'll show you this in a second. I'll go back to my fame in a minute. Ryan from Facebook actually posted and got it right as well. And nobody entered in the survey, which is fine, but we had the literature tree and we had Ryan on Facebook, one person in the chat, and we also had, wait for it, shock, gasp, horror, we had a Minster FM is our local radio, and we had a presenter on Minster FM who actually tweeted me with the answer to our Guess the Drawing. How fantastic is that? And I did tweet her the link, but she replied. So here, Gail Lofthouse, who's a DJ presenter on Minster FM, and if you live in the York area, or even if you don't, then it's worth going onto the internet and locating Minster FM on the web and listening to it, because it's fantastic. And Gail and Ben Fry are on the morning 6:30 until, I don't actually know when, I think it's till 10, But of course, I go off to work, so I don't hear. But they're very funny, and it's worth watching. So here with the answer I give you. Gail Lofthouse from Minster FM. The answer to this question was Back to the Future. That was the picture. So did you get that right? Did you get that right, or did you not get it right? If you did, then that's fantastic. But now we're going to go on to this week's Guess the Drawing. So here we go. I'm just going to get my this is going to be we're going to be very, very sort of like we're going to be very cultural today. We're going to be very cultural because we are going. Oh, I can't do that one. This is a book. This is a book, and it's a very popular book. And what you need to tweet me is that you're in the chat. Oh, I've just had a thought. Literature Tree, the Literature Tree. You are going to be so good at this. You're going to be so good at this. You should be straight in here without a shadow of a doubt. Somebody says, ask what we win. You get a mention. No, I should actually start awarding my I Waffled with Wilson badges again. I'll sort that out. We'll see how good this one goes. So here we are. Here is today's this is this week's Guess the Drawing. Okay, and Guess the Drawing. And remember, it's a book, and I need the name of the title of the book and the author. The name of the book and the author. So I'm going to go across. I'm going to go across into full screen. Here we go. Here we go. Full screen version. So here we go. I'm just going to choose my pen, and here we go. This is when I almost like. Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember? Vision On, I think it was called, or it was Tony Hart used to be the drawing, and there used to be some questions, some music, so like dee 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 dee. Do you remember that? Anyway, I remember that. So here we go. Here's the drawing. So right, we're going to draw something really weird to start off with. Oh, that is pathetic. We can't have anything like that. We need a bigger pen. Bigger pen. Here we go. So here's the first part of the drawing. Ah, this has got you baffled, hasn't it? Right, so that's the first part of the drawing. Remember, it's a book. It's a book. And we need the title of the book, and the author. Let me just colour in some sky. Oh, I'm not meant to be saying anything like that. Hang on. Has anybody got it yet? If you've got it, don't shout it out. Don't shout it out. I'm going to put something like this in here. Let's do a nice sunset here. Let's put a bit of clouds in the sky. Right, that is the book. That is the book. Okay. So that's the book. Can you guess? If anybody gets this, it will be a miracle. If anybody actually gets this one, I'll be so shocked. I'll be so shocked if anybody actually gets this. So what is the book? So remember we want the name of the book, the title of the book, and the author. Now remember, there is this website that I put up now that you can go there and you can enter in the title, and you can click on it, and you can go into and put in your guess, and or if you wish, if you go to any of the other videos, the link is actually down at the bottom in the actual description, and you can go there, and if you go there, it'll actually take you straight to the survey, and it actually says, I think the word is, but you'll have to put the title of the book. We've had one guess so far. So we see if anybody else can have a guess. Go along and you can pop it into the survey results, and I've actually reset the survey. If you're answering on Twitter, then that's absolutely fine. I've favorited it, so it'll get taken up and ready for next week's answer. So remember, it's the title of a book. And we want the title of the book and who wrote it. Okay, and that has been Guess the Drawing. Hopefully somebody's going to get the answer. I'm really worried now, altogether. So now we will zoom in there. Let me put my Twitter up as well. So if you do want to have a guess at that, then by all means, there's the link. You can go along and actually have a go, and the answer, of course, will come along next week. So we've done the drawing. We've done last week's excitement with that. Oh, the other thing that I have to say is that you can, of course, if you wish, you can also message me on Snapchat. So this is Waffling Wilson on Snapchat. So just search me and you'll be able to find me on Snapchat. And by all means, give me a message there. And I also post on Instagram when the show's about to go live, etc., etc. So you can't miss a thing. So let's now move on to one of my favourite parts of the show, which is, of course, I can't find it, which is, of course, the Minecraft montage. Here it is. Here we are, the Minecraft montage. So this is when we have a look, and again, if you are, I'm going to go a bit dark, don't worry. This is when, if you are not a great fan of Minecraft, then you can go and have a sleep somewhere, or put your feet up, or if you are interested in Minecraft, then by all means keep with me and we'll have a look and see what's going on. So let's zoom straight across to Minecraft. Here it is. So, oh, look, we have somebody here. Who is this? This is a trader. Hello, trader. He's a Rastafarian trader, and this is something new that's going to appear on the Minecraft server pretty soon. We're going to start putting the economy in, and the economy is going to be all set up, and it's going to be you're going to be able to pay the trader and trade with him and get money for certain items, and then you'll be able to get more money, and then eventually you'll be able to set up shops and things like that. So the other thing that's going to be coming in the Minecraft server shortly is that we're going to have some questing, and I'm going to set up some quests, and the quests are going to give you points, and once you've got those points, then you can actually spend it at the Minecraft webpage and get some ranks. Now, oh, don't want that, wrong button. So this, you know, if you're watching, the person who owns this building, we haven't seen for ages. We haven't seen Ollie for ages. So come back, Ollie. Please come back. Your trees are really good. Anyway, I don't know if you remember. This is Gregonor 25's castle. And with Dino Beach here. Can you remember Dino Beach? And there's a bit of competition going on. There is a bit of competition. Because if we go over here... past Shield Bashers, there's the jail over in the distance. I haven't had to use it yet, but it is there ready. That's Shield Bash's house over there. This is Sir Hedge of Hogs here, and Sir Hedge of Hog is just sort of like, he's non-stop building at the moment. Non-stop building. I'm hoping this is going to turn into York Minster. I think it'd be fantastic if that turns into York Minster. But over here, look. Gregonor, you've got some competition. Look. Sir Hedge of Hog has built his own castle. How fantastic does that look? And he's obviously making... Oh, look at all those stoves busy burning there. He's obviously making something down there. And then over here, this is the living tree, of course. I wish Sir Hedge of Hog would get rid of that cobbles there. So you can see there's lots of activity. Lots of activity on the server, mainly all Sir Hedge of Hog. But I think it's because everybody else has been on placement. And I think it gets exciting when we get the traders and everything up and running. If you're thinking this show's going on a long time, there is one more segment that we have to do. Oh no, it game crashed. My game crashed. It's crashed. I think it's because I'm just pushing my CPU so much. I think I'm just pushing it so much. So, sadly. But anyway, you've got some good pieces of news there. So, yeah, we're going to have some wonderful new areas on there. And we're going to have some ranks. And for each of the ranks, you're going to be able to get some special items for each of the ranks. And these are some of the ideas that we've come up with. So you're going to be able to fly and set up personal warps and summon instant kits and things like that. And Shield Bash, this is Shield Bash here. He came up with some wonderful names for the ranks. I was going to put something boring like VIP, but he came up with these. Look. Mutterer, Whisperer, Natterer, Chatterer and Waffler. How fantastic is that? How fantastic is that? So that's what I'm going to name my ranks when I get them up. So Shield Bash, there's Shield Bash on the top of the Iron Man there. Thank you. We're going to use those. Those are going to be our new titles. So, yeah, so remember, if you would like to join the Minecraft server, even if you don't know a thing about Minecraft, then that's absolutely fine. It's a nice, friendly server, and there's lots of people there who have played the game before, and they know what they're doing, and there are lots of people there to help. And if you go to wilsonwaffling.engine.com, and it's engine ENJIN. There's a link from wilsonwaffling.co.uk. You come to this site, and up at the top there's a button called Applications, and you can click there and you'll come to this part, and you can see the general rules there. These are just sensible rules just to keep everybody in line, but things like no trying to kill anyone, okay, things like that. We're a very friendly server. But just down here, there's an application form for you to fill in, and it does sort of like basically your name and your age, how old you are, so it goes right up to 100. It's totally up to you. Your email address, and hopefully when we do that, you'll get added to the newsletter that goes out most weeks. Your Minecraft profile name is really important, so make sure you set that up before you apply to come to the server, because I need that to whitelist you, because only whitelisted people can actually go on the actual server. And then just a quick lot of information, and just what you know about Minecraft. So if you know know nothing at all, then that gives us an indication, and we can get somebody on there to help you, and take you through the basics. Also down here, if you have any gaming experience in other MMOs, massive multiplayer online games, then by all means pop it in there and then submit it, and we'll get you on the server as soon as possible. Also, if you are going to join, then don't forget to pop along to the web page and join in, so you can get all the chat and the points, so to speak. So there's only one last segment left, and of course that is the infamous Ask Waffling Wilson. So without further ado, once I've actually set up, I can't find, oh, here it is. Here we go. Let's go across to Ask Waffling Wilson.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Ask Waffling Wilson.
Please note, the new number is...
Ask Waffling Wilson.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, I'm back. That was a better one. That's about the right length, that one, I think. So this is Ask Waffling Wilson, and remember, this is the web page that you can go to, and you can just go there and you can click in there. You can ask me any question you want, and then I check them on my phone now, and I answer them live on air for you. So without further ado, let's go straight across to the app. It's always exciting when I press this button because I have no idea what's going to be on there. So first question: what's something that everyone should do every day? Now, I'm assuming that we're not talking about things like eat or drink or anything like that. Okay, I assume that we're not talking about things like that. But do you want to know what I think everybody should do? 2 things I think you should do every day. First thing, I think you should smile and laugh. I think there's nothing better than smiling and laughing. So every day you should smile at least once. Even if you're in a grumpy mood, you should still smile. Remember, it's contagious. Remember, it takes a lot more muscles to frown and be sad than it does to smile. So let's start saving some energy. The other thing that I would say that you should do every day is that you should have positive thoughts. And I know it's very difficult at times, and I know it's very difficult to have positive thoughts, but only if you have one, then that's a start. And remember, positive thoughts is like writing a book. Okay? A book is made up of word after word after word after word. And it's only when you put all these words together that you suddenly, before you know it, you've created a novel. And what I would say to you is that every day have a positive thought, and those positive thoughts will build up, and before you know it, you will be confident and have lots of self-esteem. So those are the 2 things. I give you 2 things rather than 1. Next question. There's 2 questions this week. Sorry about this, guys. Do you worry with the popularity YouTube is getting, especially bloggers and gamers, and top comments often being things such as, it's more important than homework anyway? Do you think education should be looking at using these within education to help interest pupils? Really interesting question. I don't know who gave that question, but very interesting question. And I think the answer is quite simply yes. And I think yes for a number of reasons. Number 1, I think we should engage with teaching and learning with what is being used. And people know my views about technology, and I love technology and I think it's really useful. But videos I love because it's popular. Daily blogging. I think there's an art to daily blogging. There's an art to writing blog posts. It's a skill in itself, and these are valuable learning experiences. And you know, if people watch my videos, or people read my blog, or people read other people's blog, then I think that's really important. I think it's really important on several levels. I think number 1, you know, there's that famous saying, sorry, the saying is, I forgot the saying. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I think with technology and Facebook and YouTube and things like that, you can't make people learn. but you can encourage them. I was thinking about that joke. You can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead. Well, actually graphite. But is that the joke? Is that the joke? I can't remember. So it's this idea that if I can sort of like promote the use of technology, if it engages, then it might promote learning. And I must say at this point, before people go, I do it as one of the aspects. Okay, I would never sort of like get rid of face-to-face teaching or anything like that. I would want to keep all that. It's just, as I tell the students, it's another piece of our armament for learning. It's another thing that we have to use at our disposal. And I think the bloggers and YouTubers might be saying, oh no, don't bring them here, this is the fun place. But learning is fun. And, you know, it's really important to have that learning all together. And to use technology, to use what is popular is important. So I would say, yes, we should. And yes, we should go out there and you know, well done, Bera, getting your blog together. Let's have a YouTube channel next. Why not have a YouTube channel? Look at TED, you know, as in the education and all the videos they do. How inspiring are some of those talks? So the answer to that question is yes, we should. And if you're watching this rather than doing your homework, then don't forget to do your homework or your planning. If you're watching this instead of doing your planning, then planning next, please. I'm off to go and play some games after this. So please remember, if you want to ask me a question, then the link's down here. You can find it on wilsonwaffling.co.uk. Also, please remember that you can also catch me on Twitter at iWilsonYSJ, and of course you can also get me on, if I could find it, Snapchat, Waffling Wilson. By all means, pop me on there and add me. You can also find the rest of my social media links at the top of wilsonwaffling.co.uk. I hope you've really enjoyed this show. I've really enjoyed being with you for this hour. This is show 48. We got 49, and then on 50 I've got a new piece of technology that I want to use, and we're going to have a series of interactions with it. So please come, make sure you're along for the 50th show. And also, with popular demand, my mom's going to be with me, so hopefully you'll look forward to that as well. I don't know how she's going to be with me yet, but she's definitely going to be here. Also, on my 50th show, I'm going to have Skype up and running, so if you'd like to phone in for your Ask Waffling Wilson questions, then by all means add me to Skype at, here's my Skype, let me find it, I do have it up here, I've got rid of it. Add me to my Skype, and which is iWilsonYSJ, and by all means you can phone in and tell me either what you think of the show or ask me any questions. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, chat. You have been fantastic tonight, chat. You've been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for everybody who's tweeted. That's been fantastic as well, and I hope you've really enjoyed the show. I am going to leave you with the wonderfully created end clip for my titles. Looking forward already to next week. Catch you all later. Have fun and look after yourself.